Make that big boss less special. It ain't no game, but they saying welcome to the second level. Second level. Second level gaming. Second level.
A scary rabbit face and $5 was all it took to convince me to pick up The Rabbit Hole by VR Monkey. The Rabbit Hole pins itself as a virtual escape the room game, and I can't think of a better description, so let's go with that. Upon entering the room, I noticed that the controls were less than desirable. I couldn't tell if I was just spoiled with the amount of games that have perfected the PSVR control schemes recently, or if the game just did not control well. It's pretty much just look at an arrow to move. Think Last Guardian VR experience, and look at things like items, drawers, and puzzles to interact with them. 80% of the time trying to move to an arrow will work. The rest of the time you'll be finagling the camera angle in order to make it work. You do have an inventory, although primordial, and occasionally you do have to dig around and go through the descriptions to see how to progress further. It took me an embarrassingly long time to realize the potion I had acquired was actually a shrinking potion, and I had to use it in order to progress. I had assumed from the naming of the item as simply potion that it would likely just be health or something. It's a little bit the developer's fault for not naming it shrinking potion, but mostly mine for not reading the description of an item in an escape the room game. Anyway, I digress. Why do you have a shrinking potion, you may ask? Well, in case you haven't figured it out by the name yet, The Rabbit Hole is actually an escape the room game based loosely on Alice in Wonderland. Shrinking potions being only half of the larger mechanic, because of course once you shrink, you also need to be able to grow again. This becomes possible with the introduction of a cupcake/muffin that makes you grow. Each potion or muffin that you find gives you 2 uses of its power. So now it's time to solve the puzzles. And boy, are they rough. There are supposedly 5 major puzzles in this game, but trust me when I say it'll take you a fair bit of time on most of them. I finished 3 of them during my playthrough before I got somewhat hopelessly stuck. The easiest of which involved me matching a song on the radio to a machine in the center of the room. The hardest of which involved rotating Roman numerals on a clock face to get 4 in a precise order. The clock was my undoing on playthrough number 1. It took so long trying to figure the clock out that I actually ran down the timer. Oh yeah, there's a timer. Like any good escape the room game, you only get so long to escape. Eventually, if you get stuck for long enough, you'll get a game over via a demonic buddy ghost thing that just kind of appears out of thin air. There is a definitive horror element to this game. Lots of spooky goings on, especially noises. You'll often hear a demon-like cackle in your ears or see things falling over by themselves. At one point when I was small, I could see the Devil Bunny itself in all of its glory. For some reason it couldn't see me, but it was definitely creepy as shit. The game is pretty dark. You do have the ability to lighten it a touch, but even on the lightest setting, it's still kind of bad. I'll say this about The Rabbit Hole. I wanted to keep going. Upon discovering some of the deeper mechanics and skill sets in my arsenal further down the line, such as being able to manipulate time briefly, I found myself compelled to push forward, to keep trying to find my escape. It's easily a game you could play over and over again, despite the dodgy movement and interaction mechanics. Let us not forget the price tag here as well, $5. As a $5 VR experience, it's well above and beyond the likes of some higher priced games in the VR marketplace. I quite enjoyed the brief time I spent with The Rabbit Hole. On face value, it's easily worth the pickup. If you enjoy escape the room games and you understand that VR isn't always perfect. Just don't expect it to blow your mind. Try watching Alice in Wonderland on acid if you're looking for that. Thanks for watching.
game, but they saying welcome to the second level.